Project-ready artwork is artwork that helps our designers produce your project on our printers. Typically, when designers receive artwork from our customers, it's in a JPEG, PNG, or other typical image format. These are what we call raster files. These are all perfectly fine formats that you can think of like cardboard boxes. These boxes are perfect for carrying things in. In our case, these formats carry picture data. To achieve really great results, our designers need boxes that are filled with high-quality content, which is to say they require high-resolution clarity. In many cases, customers ask for images they found or have taken themselves to be blown up and placed on large signs or banners. To do so, however, requires the high-quality images we previously discussed. Imagine you have a deflated balloon and a black marker. If you were to draw a smiley face on the balloon while it was deflated, it would look pretty good. The smiley face would probably be pretty small, assuming you have a normal-sized balloon. Now, you're going to huff and puff and blow the balloon to the largest size before it pops. That smiley face would start to look pretty strained as the balloon got bigger. That's essentially what happens when you take a low-resolution image and try to make it larger. The moral of the story is, in most cases, we can't use small images to make big signs and banners, though this isn't always the case, as I'll go on to explain. At this point, we know high-resolution images are important when we're working with really big signs and banners. But from a print design perspective, artwork comes in two different forms, flat color and full color. We can see below two different images of what we'll assume is the same person. On the left, we can see numerous flat colors, almost as if someone were to paint this picture using only 4 different colors in their palette. On the right, we see a full image color, which we can instantly recognize as a photograph taken from a camera. If your image is a high resolution, then you're good to go and you're ready to begin the print process. But what happens if your image isn't high quality enough? In this case, we need to move to the next step, converting your image into vector art. Let's get back to our box analogy. Previously, we stated that a picture is really just the data inside a raster format, or like the content inside a cardboard box. Now it's time to get an even bigger box we'll call a cargo container. This cargo container is called a vector file, and it acts like a cargo container should. It holds all kinds of stuff in it. You can take tons of smaller boxes and place them inside and arrange them however you want. But there's something else that's very special about vector files. For just a moment, let's return to our cardboard boxes. These boxes, as I stated, hold picture data. That is to say, the picture data knows where every single color dot is in your image in a big grid system. In fact, if you zoomed in far enough on any digital photo, you will eventually see it's just a big grid of different colored dots. This makes transporting all that data picture around in a raster file pretty easy, and that's pretty important. But taking a step back and taking a look at the vector file, we learn something else that's pretty cool. Vector files aren't based on the pixel grid system. Whereas pictures are based on the grid system of color dots, vector files are not. They're based on mathematical precision. In a sense, you've gone grid-free and work on math alone. Well, this is really beneficial when we want our position of cardboard boxes in a very particular position in our cargo container. Keeping in mind what we know about vector files, it's important to remember that vector files don't influence what's inside a raster file. They just hold the boxes and position them. This leads us to vector art. Remember how I explained that some low-quality images can be made larger? Vector files also provide us with the ability to create vector art, which is artwork based on mathematical positions, not the grid system. Going grid-free means vector art often looks far more like shapes of color than detailed images. The examples below is a good representation of what vector art will look like. Flat colors, less details, often used to create words in simple shapes. This may seem confusing, but keep in mind the analogy. Our vector file cargo container just contains items inside it, including vector art and images. While the vector art survives in a world without grids, the artwork can be made as large and small as needed, and never loses proportions or appear to be stretched. So let's wrap up what we've learned into practical terms. If you have an image you would really like to use, it needs to be either a high-resolution image that can be printed onto a large sign or banner without looking blurry, or it needs to be a simple enough image that it can be converted into a vector art and enlarged that way.